is John Black, Super Chemist. This is part 4. And number 3 is this last thing that I mentioned. A cop came in, highway patrolman. He jacked me up against the wall, and he threatened me to shut up. He'll make sure I do life if I don't, if I don't play ball and shut up about the stuff being stolen. Now, if he didn't do that, first of all, I would have thought it was the sheriff. Up until that point, I never, ever even suspected this dude. Never. His rap sheet was clean. He was good. Nobody, but being a state police, he probably isn't involved with people as much, you know what I mean? Since he's on the highway instead of in town, you know what I mean? He can get away with a lot more stuff and be crooked without people actually realizing it. Whereas the sheriff is stuck in a single location, in that little tiny city that they were in. Rumors spread. If it wasn't for those 3 things, but the main thing was me taking over and the cop confessing. If he didn't confess, all he had to do was shut up. I didn't have any evidence. I was just bluffing. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, think about it. Let's say I got convicted, they sent me to prison. So what? I call up, I wouldn't do it because it's stupid, because I know it will happen. Let's say I called up Internal Affairs and I said, look, they stole my shit. I can even take a lie detector test saying someone stole my shit. Get them investigated. Most likely they still wouldn't have came down, even though I could take a lie detector saying someone stole my shit. It wasn't leading them anywhere. They would have had to actually work, and cops do not like to work. So they would have just said, they would have just laughed it off and been like, man, who gives a shit? All cops are crooked. You know what I mean? They'd be like, we got 100 million other cops that are crooked we're investigating that are easy to catch. So nothing would have happened if he wouldn't have came. But by him doing that, now I could take a polygraph naming names, his. And Internal Affairs, they're cops, and they don't, their job is to catch other cops, man. So they would come down if I could do a polygraph, naming names, proving 100% sure that this is the cop to start with. There was a 100% chance he would have been investigated. So he didn't want that, or his business would go. He couldn't do his business anymore. And seriously, I think all the Internal Affairs were probably in on it anyway, as crooked as this town was. So this goes on for another week. And keep in mind, a week to me could be a week or a month. Could be 2 weeks for all I know when I say a week. I'm not good at keeping time. The entire process of this story is covered over 4.5 months of being locked up. So that's how long the process took. So when I say a week, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3, I don't know, I can't remember, it was a long time ago. So anyways, another week goes by where they, don't give me my attorneys or phone calls or anything like that. And finally, after so long, a week or 2, they let me see my attorney. And he says, oh, well, we have a new plea for you. So they went down from 40 years to 4. But it was 4 to life. But that's actually better, because that means you can be paroled in 4 years. And most likely I would have been. You know what I mean? But if I got in trouble a lot, that would extend my time. And then I wouldn't be as paroled as early. But 40 years means you're definitely you're not even going to be up for parole for 13 years. Not even going to ask you if, they're not even going to think about you till then. So that was a great opportunity or whatever. My attorney was telling me, and I had to fire my attorney 3 times. 3 times I told him, you are fired. And once you say they're fired, they change their tune. You know what I mean? But 3 times I had to tell him, you're fired, dude. I'll just go talk to the judge. Fuck it. And, instantaneously, no, I'll do what you want, He didn't want to do anything I wanted from get-go, you know what I mean? when I was telling him, the first time I talked to him, I was like, we're going to fight this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You know, I want you to do this, that. He's like laughing at me almost, saying, no, we're, you know, they're offering a plea. I mean, they caught you dead to right. There's nothing to fight. You know what I mean? It's like, what? And I'm thinking, you're an attorney. Of course, there's always a fight. I don't care what the, you know, there's always a loophole, dumbass. Uh, but you know, this last visit from him, where they finally let me see him again, he's again saying, look, they've lowered it all the way. You'll be out in 4 years, automatic, man. I mean, it's not automatic, but pretty much. Stay out of trouble in jail when you're locked up in prison, and you'll be out in 4 years, man. And, you know, you go back to your state and blah, blah, blah. You have some probation or whatever, and, you know, get on with your life. And now I'm like, and I'm telling him, no, we ain't doing it. And I'm telling him to do this and that, and he still isn't listening again. And I'm telling him, you're fired then, man. And I threatened him at that point, because I'm paranoid now that, you know, this is, the whole town is, this is like the Dukes of Hazzard town, man. And sheriff's crooked, the cops below him are crooked, the highway patrol's crooked. You know, it's a tiny town, so nobody, you know, they don't even have buses. No, you can't wire money there. You can't get a cab. You know, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? Nobody watching anyone, so they can do whatever they want, I guess. So he actually left mad, my attorney, you know, after that. And now I'm starting to get into the papers and that. Because this is like the tiniest town, you know. And I'm telling him, this is good publicity for you, man. You know, you're gonna get into you got into the papers. Now, if you win, you got it made, man. This little dink town, I'm the big bad, you know, got all the big cocaine and drugs and guns and blah blah blah. And you know, even though I really only had a little bit to this town, it was probably like, you know, Al Pacino from Scarface or whatever, you know. So he leaves, and we eventually do end up in the trial, okay? And you know, I did learn something during this trial, and I'll tell you at the end. So during the preliminary trial, now we have not set any, you know, the DA got the police to get on a stand, and his story was that he pulled me over and he asked if he could search my car. I said yes. He searched it. He found the stuff and arrested me. Okay. And my attorney got up and really didn't ask him anything. Yeah, he didn't really ask him anything, I guess, really. It was just all, you know, like, what's your name? That type of thing. And I lost, of course, and so we were set over for trial. Now at the trial, he hasn't really, I know who it is. I know it's the highway patrol guy. He's the only evidence against me. It's just him. If he would have a heart attack and die, I would be released that day, because there is no case against me. You know, we don't, you know, if he can't get on the stand, you know, but he is the only thing that, you know, everyone else, I guess, thinks that the cocaine is the evidence, and the, you know, the gun, and the pot, and the this and the that. That's not what's important. That is the least important thing. That has nothing to do with the trial, really, nothing at all. This trial is about a crooked cop. It has nothing to do with me. All right, or any of that. That evidence is nothing. That evidence has nothing to do with anything. Okay, if I can get rid of that cop, okay, all I need to do is get rid of him. He needs to go. Okay, and he knows I have him by the balls. When the guards are coming by, a lot of times I'd hold my fist out and be like clenching it, saying, yeah, I guess what that is. I got the balls. I'm going to crush the balls. Look at the balls. I'm going to crush the balls. Yeah, I got you all by the balls, man. If I go down, we're all going down. He's just the first. Then I'm coming back. I'm coming back for all Ians. And we're all going to go to prison. Because I don't mind doing life in prison. See, that's the thing. And I think by this point, they had believed me, because I was telling them the whole time, I don't care I don't care if you lock me up for 50 lifetimes. As long as you come with me, I'll be happy as hell. I will just be giggling till the day I die in prison, buddy. You know, I don't care, motherfucker. You're the only one that cares. You're the only one that has your ass in a sling, not me. I could live the rest of my life in prison and not blink and thinking nothing of it, buddy. You know, at the time. Now I would not be able to do that. But they were finally starting to believe me, I guess. My plea was down, like I said, to 4 years. We're in the court. Now the story, my attorney gets up. You know, first the DA gets up, he says the same thing as last time. My attorney gets up, and now he starts grilling him on stuff. You know what I mean? He starts grilling him on where we were, who was there, what was this, what was that. You know, he wants to know every detail down to the, you know, what happened first, what happened second, what happened third. And basically, you know, how many times. So now this cop knows. He knows if I go down, he goes down. So he needs to change his story. But see, I gave him the leeway to do it. See, if we would have gone in like my attorney wanted to do, because I told my attorney, I did not give him, I actually told him several times he could not search my car, and I even have a speech when they piss me off. I say, you can't search my car, you can't search, and even though, you know, no matter where I'm at, it's the same thing I say. Even though my house may not be there or my car may not be there, I say the same speech. I don't give you permission to search my car, I don't give you permission to search my house, I don't give you permission to search any of my bodily fluids, I don't give you permission to search my body, I don't give you permission to search anything I own, I give you permission to search nothing. You know what I mean? And I have this speech that I give, because especially if there's people around, you have witnesses. Now they're afraid to lie in court, because you might have got one of those witnesses to be a surprise witness coming in. You know, he may not be on the list, but you open the door by saying, hey, you know, he didn't give me that speech. The cop says on the stand, he didn't give me that speech. Now he opens the door. Now I can put a surprise witness up. I can bring that guy in and say, hey, he was standing right there and heard me, and I don't even know this guy. I just tracked him down by a private investigator. You know what I mean? I don't know him. So he changed. Okay, so he changes the story that he basically the key thing he changed was that he had asked me 6 times if I could, if he could search my car, and 6 times I told him no. And then he searched it anyway. Or he said 6 times, because it had to be a lot of times, you know, more than once or twice, so that it looked like he was harassing me, you know what I mean? I think he actually did say that I gave permission, but because it was 6 times, I mean, come on, you can't ask someone 6 times if you can search them, and then the 6 times they say yes. That's harassment. That's called something. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I know the loopholes, and that's called something, and you can't do it. And if you do, and the guy says, yes, you can search, and you search, and you're a cop, it doesn't matter. You broke the law to get it, to do the search. You can't break the law to do a search. Or whatever you find is crap. It's garbage. It's irrelevant. So because the judge hears this, he, you know, looks down at me, and he says, you know, you got to stand up or whatever. He says, I think you are obviously guilty as hell, man. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? You got caught dead left, right. But he searched your car under duress or whatever they call that. You know what I mean? He asked too many times to give permission. Even though you said yes, you can't ask somebody 6 times. That's too much. That's harassment now. So I'm going to have to drop the charges. And this is what I learned. I said I learned something earlier in this trial that I never knew before, is this. Now, he stares at the DA and he says, do you have anything to add before I drop all the charges and let this guy walk out of here? And he is dumbfounded. His eyes are wide open. His mouth is open. He's just like, ah. And after a couple of seconds, he starts fumbling at his papers on his desk there, you know, and looking through them. And after a minute of that, he looks up. He's still dumbfounded. He says, I want to do an appeal. I'd like to appeal. Don't miss part 5.